guys, this is Courtney from Cosmic Clarity Astrology, and I'm excited today to talk to you about the Pisces Lunar Eclipse happening on September 7th. I don't have a ton of energy today. I'm not feeling super well, but I did want to make this video before things get really crazy with eclipse season because I want you guys to be prepared. So September 7th is the Pisces lunar eclipse. September 21st, I believe, is the Virgo solar eclipse, and it will be the second Virgo new moon in this 30-day period. So what is this Pisces lunar eclipse about? Well, first of all, I do think it's interesting that we had a Pisces lunar eclipse back in September, in the middle of September of 2024. So there could be some similar themes going on at this time that you see coming back around. That previous moon, I do feel like there was an interesting difference at that time because it just felt like there was maybe a little bit of a difference between where we wanted to be versus where we were, and this kind of like dream that we had not being totally grounded in reality. I think what makes this eclipse a little bit more stronger, I should say, is the fact that the ruler of Pisces, traditional ruler of Pisces is Jupiter, and Jupiter is in the sign of Cancer where it's exalted, whereas last year during the Pisces eclipse it was in Gemini where it's struggling, where it's in its detriment. So essentially, I think that the overarching theme is that there's going to be the potential for things to move forward in a way that maybe we couldn't quite get at the eclipse last September. Maybe there were certain goals, ideas, or things that we wanted to get into motion that we actually have the potential to kind of get going at this particular eclipse, now that Jupiter is more useful in the sign of Cancer. On top of that, it's also making a trine to this moon. So I do think we're getting some of the blessings of Jupiter and the way that this planet can give us insight, opportunities, or the right kind of emotional framework or headspace to move our lives forward in a positive direction. So let's talk a little bit more about what this eclipse is bringing up in particular. One of the things that I wanted to touch on is this exact quincunx between Venus and Leo and the moon in Pisces. Whenever we have a quincunx, this represents two planets that have nothing in common. They don't have like any of the same interests, any of the same perspectives. They're just really on two different paths. And what that can do is it can create this they can create an issue in our lives that we're not actually really aware of. So what's happening here is that Venus and Leo, in many ways, I think wants to have the feeling of being worthy, of being chosen, of being desired, of being acknowledged, of being good at something, of being validated. That's Venus and Leo. We all want to feel like we are doing something well, or that we are loved, or that we are desired. And this inherent nature is rubbing up in a negative way against a Pisces moon. And a Pisces moon also wants to have love and acceptance, but its main thing is that it can be so concerned with having a sense of peace and trying to fix people, save people, heal people, support people, that it can combine negatively with this Leo energy. And it can indicate that we can put too much into others or too much stock into what people say about us and their expectations of us, or they're putting their needs above our own, so that we are liked or adored in certain ways. So this Venus quincunx, the moon, is basically saying that we can easily become boundaryless or lose perspective on what we need to say no to because of a desire to be liked, with that Leo energy, to be chosen, to be adored, to be validated. So we can overextend ourselves or do the wrong things, almost like we get out of alignment in a way, because of the desire to feed our ego of, yes, I'm the best. Of course they rely on me. I'm the best. But it's coming from a place of, unhealthiness, because then you're not recognizing what you really need in that moment. Sometimes also a mixture of Leo and Pisces and a quincunx can lead to avoidance of a real issue. And Leo can avoid it by coloring things pretty. It has this kind of Libra quality to it where, if the ego wants to protect itself, it can make things seem a certain way in your head. So making a story out to be different than it really is to paint yourself in a better light. That's a Leo kind of narcissistic experience. So the very negative sides of Leo, I guess. And then Pisces can do that too, in its own kind of delusional way of trying to paint the picture to be a lot more perfectionistic and beautiful and better, because it's deluding itself. So both of these signs have the potential to overlook things that it doesn't want to see, and to not take responsibility in the way that things need to be taken responsibility for, to see where you play a part in something, or to see how something has messed up or needs to be fixed, but your role in that is key. So there's something here with the Pisces Leo where we can not respect our own boundaries with people because we want people to like us or to choose us. And we can also go into places of avoidance where we lack responsibility because of our own ego or because of a desire for things to be more beautiful than they are. So the Leo and Pisces quincunx, I think, plays a really big role in the signification of this full moon. I think in general, the push of the Pisces moon is a desire for peace, healing, and love in our lives. The sun, which is opposite the moon in Virgo, has a desire to feel useful, to feel healthy, to feel efficient, and productive. The Jupiter in Cancer has a desire to nurture others and to nurture yourself. And so it can be easy if you really want to feel useful, if you really want to be loved, if you really want to nurture people, it can be easy to, again, overextend yourself for others, or make excuses for others, or be too understanding of others. And all those things are kind of issues at this full moon. And Jupiter is also making a square to Mars in Libra. So Mars is a little dysfunctional in this sign. Mars normally wants to be assertive and be individualistic and conflict oriented even. But it's in this very kind of passive, all about cooperation, let's make peace, in the sign of Libra, fairness and things of that nature. So I just see a lot of the potential with this full moon to get bulldozed by other people. And we don't really have a strong Mars right now to put up the necessary boundaries or stand up for ourselves when we need to. So I think a lot of people are going to recognize during this Pisces eclipse where they have let their boundaries sag and how that has maybe negatively impacted them, or how at times they might be trying to do too much. Especially with Jupiter squaring Mars, there can be an impulsiveness where we just say yes to things, or we don't understand how long things will take, or we jump in head first without the proper, I guess, like readiness for something. And so, and again, a lot of this can come from the desire to take care of others or please others, or because of enmeshment with others. Whatever it is, there is the potential for, again, boundaries to just kind of go by the wayside at this time of this eclipse. And it's important to bring it back to ourselves. So I pulled some cards to ask Spirit, like, is there another message here that we need to know for this eclipse? And I got the Devil, and then I got the 10 of Cups and the 2 of Wands. And to clarify the Devil, I got the 9 of Swords and the Strength card. So To me, the devil is the thing that stands in the way of getting what we want, because the 10 of Cups is what we want. It is the wish being fulfilled. It is a true happiness. And the 2 of Wands is a card of planning. So us making a plan for how to get what we want. So that seems really efficient, very Virgoan, right? I want to get a book deal, so I'm going to start off with writing my book outline. And I'm going to start doing some research on how authors get published, how to find a literary agent, things like that. And so you start to get the plan in motion, the idea in motion, but then the devil comes up. And the devil is a card that speaks to one of 2 things. It can speak to being bound by certain addictions and troubling patterns that you have, where you are avoiding and escaping a problem through focusing on other things, including people and other people's problems, which is a big issue around this Pisces eclipse. Is people can get their boundaries stepped over, and you can actually lose sight of what you really want because of your focus so much on other people. Another issue with this is the limiting belief aspect of the devil, which is to not even think that something is possible, to limit yourself from the very start so that you don't actually put things into motion or start the planning process because you immediately assume it's not going to happen. So these 2 cards clarifying the devil to me really make a lot of sense, because the Strength card is all about willpower and taming the beast within and making sure that you are making conscious decisions rather than falling into patterns of addiction and a lack of consciousness in your choices. And the Knight of Swords with the other card is a card of anxiety and worrying about things that aren't there or aren't happening. And this is going hand in hand with the limiting beliefs. If you are super concerned about all the things that can go wrong, your brain is going to make up a bunch of rules and limitations to keep you from trying things that could push your boundaries into the unknown where things can go wrong. So ultimately, I think that this eclipse is about helping us become aware of things that are holding us back, worries, fears, addictions, and again, a major issue here around boundaries within relationships or boundaries within your workplace, and recognizing when, or any boundary, but recognizing when you are overextending yourself and not connecting to what it is that you need in that moment. I think it's important to pay attention to this Jupiter in Cancer and recognize that we are needing to focus on our ability to nurture ourselves before other people. And again, this could also deal with making excuses for people. So if you have someone in your life that's saying something or doing something that is rubbing you the wrong way, it can be easy to make excuses for them, which is really crossing almost like a logical boundary, a boundary within your mind and your reasoning. And so that is also something to consider. This degree of the moon is 15 to 16 degrees of Pisces, and the Sabian symbol for that is, in the quiet of his study, a creative individual experiences a flow of inspiration. So what I think is potential for us right now, especially with Jupiter squaring Mars, I think we could have these kind of bursts of intuition, of ideas, of a good plan to get ahead with something, some clarity of action, like what steps we need to take to act. But I also think that we could impulsively agree to things or get swept up in things that are other people's problems. And that could sidetrack us from even having the energy, the time, the capability of setting these ideas or plans into motion or onto paper or whatever that looks like. So just be really careful that you don't allow other people to sidetrack your dreams. That's the first message. The second message is being really careful to not fall into patterns of limiting belief or some type of avoidance, escapism, addiction mindset that could also steal the wind from your sails and create an inability to move forward on the things that you are gaining clarity on now. And again, I think boundaries is so important because Saturn is currently retrograde in Pisces at 29 degrees of Pisces. So this is the final retrograde that Saturn will have in this sign. And it will be finally moving into Aries in mid-February 2026, and it will not be returning to Pisces for 30 more years. So we are basically having this final push of Saturn and Pisces where we are trying to learn the lessons that Saturn and Pisces wants to teach. And one of those lessons is, you know, one of them is addiction. One of them is kind of suffering, also maybe a little bit of loneliness. But another is trying to be the savior for other people and noticing how that can negatively impact us. So don't overextend yourselves. Don't try to be the most useful person. Don't try to be the most loved person. And because doing those things, shooting for those goals, can make you overextend yourself for others in ways that is a detriment to yourself. I think with Jupiter and Cancer, we need to lead first from the mindset that we have to take care of ourselves and look after ourselves before we can do that for others. And I did get the elephant card as well when I was pulling cards earlier. And the elephant card speaks to literally that we can remove any obstacle, like we can overcome anything. But first, we need to remember to put ourselves first in order to be able to have the energy and the capacity to do that. So let's go ahead and dive into what this is going to look like for each of the rising and sun signs. And you can find that listed in my description box. I will have timestamps next to all of them. And I hope you guys have a great day. Don't forget to like the video, comment below, and subscribe. All right, up first we have Aries rising and sun. For you, this Pisces eclipse on September 7th, this lunar eclipse, is happening in your 12th house. And this eclipse, if you watch the overview, I talked about there being a need to have boundaries and a need to also kind of create a plan. And so the two questions that I asked the tarot for this reading are, what are the boundaries that you need looked at? And then what do you need to know about your plan? With this house being in, with this eclipse being in your 12th house, there is a limit to, my brain is not working today. I don't feel that great. But there is a self-undoing quality to the 12th house. So things like addiction, escapism, anxiety, overthinking things, things that like catch you up and they take you off track. And when I pull cards around what the boundary is for you guys, I actually kind of feel like this is more so a boundary with your mind, because I pulled the Gemini card. And the first thing that I got from this was like your social media use, or the kinds of information that you're receiving, or the kinds of people that you're talking to. It just, with the 10 of Cups and 2 Wands clarifying, this feels like a message from Spirit saying that there's something that you want, but you're not maybe prioritizing it to the level that you could be. And because you're not prioritizing it, you are allowing your mind to get really scattered, and it's not allowing yourself to move forward at the pace or direction that you want. So the Gemini energy to me very much feels like somebody who is on social media too much. They're scrolling too much. They have too many plans socially. They have too much on their calendar. It's like somebody who is very busy, very stimulated, and isn't prioritizing the thing that they really, really want. And this Pisces eclipse is going to help you become aware of where you need to place better boundaries to protect the time that you have, where you are awake, where you are alert, where you are at 100% and can actually give that to the things that you love. And that time is very limited. It's not the time that you squeeze in at 10 p.m. at the end of the day. I feel like somebody needs to hear this, because you've got no energy left. You've got nothing left to give, and then you're trying to force something in there. This is like carving out and prioritizing something that is important to you at the time when you have the capacity and energy to give it your all. And this might not be physically possible for some of you, but I think for most of us, we can be honest with ourselves and look at our time spent on our phone or electronics, or doing things like numbing out watching TV or getting distracted with other things that we truly could pare back on. And I think that's what Spirit wants you to ask yourself about today, if there's a boundary that you can implement there. There is some, so the second message I have what for you is like, what is the plan, or what do you need to know about your plan? So if you have an idea of something that you really want to do, I feel like this is going to help you get more information on that thing that you want, or the thing that you've been thinking about. So I got the Star and then the Six of Pentacles in reverse. One of the messages that came through for this, and this might not be the only one, but I have to say this first, is that there is something here about being too hopeful that some kind of situation that is imbalanced is going to even itself out without having to set a boundary. And that is not the case. I think that, yeah, I don't know. It's almost like, oh, if I just start this job at this pay salary, it's not enough, but it's going to like even itself out in the long run. It's just having hope that things are going to work out like that. I don't know. I just have a bad feeling about that. Almost like, yeah, that things won't ever truly become fair. And I almost feel like with the Six of Cups as a clarifier, that you're actually settling for less because of the Six of Cups energy, because of something in the past. And this is really common with eclipses in the 12th house. There can be a lot of history and memories that are coming up to the surface, or that are involved in this eclipse. So there can be some element of like your past resurfacing where things have been unfair in the past, and maybe you're just like hoping that they'll get better, but you actually have to be the one to make it better, I think, in many ways. Like you can't just expect that things will be different this time. I also see that you're going to have a really strong intuition about things that do have the potential to be very abundant, or you're going to have an intuition on the things that are not scarce. And this could be anything. Like if this is a career, this could be you have an instinct if it's going to be prosperous for you. So don't override that because of, a past where you've maybe settled for less, just hoping it will get better. This could also be a relationship. If someone's breadcrumbing you, it's like, don't just expect that that's going to go away. Trust your instinct that if something feels really abundant for you, that there's more to that story there. And if it feels that there is an imbalance or a lack of abundance, that's also the case. So I guess like, what do you need to know for your plan? I think the biggest thing here is to recognize when you are not getting equality, when you're not getting paid what you deserve, when you're not being valued in the way that you deserve, when people are underestimating you or not considering you. That is something you need to truly take into consideration and potentially heal or look at more deeply, rather than hoping it's just going to get better and living on a prayer and a dream. And that has a lot to do with the overview that we talked about, kind of, people pleasing and things of that nature. So you guys can go back and watch that if you haven't seen that already, but I hope that this is helpful or resonates. If it does, let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to also subscribe and share with your friends and like the video. And I hope you guys have a great day. Bye. All right, up next we have Taurus rising and sun. This Pisces lunar eclipse on September 7th is happening in your 11th house of wishes, hopes, dreams, and friendships. So these are the areas going to have the most change for you right now. I pulled two sets of cards based off of the overview. And the first question is, what boundary needs examining? And that is because this is a Pisces eclipse. Saturn is retrograde at 29 Pisces. And that is very much a question of boundaries. And boundaries can take many, many, many different shapes and forms. So I am excited to look at what this is like for you guys. So what I got, I start off with the Jupiter planet card. It says, learn or teach, be positive about, grow and expand. So I find this really interesting because I also got Saturn as what you need to know about your plan. So I got some interesting contrast between being realistic and being optimistic, or being pessimistic, I should say, and being optimistic. There is this like weird juxtaposition coming up in your cards. And I wanted to mention that from the start, that you guys might be oscillating back and forth. The Jupiter card speaks to optimism and to periods of growth. But the cards that I pulled along with this around what boundary needs examining are the Death and the Knight of Pentacles in reverse. This to me feels like something is dying a slow death, um, or like you are struggling to let something go or to start a new chapter. It feels like you're kind of holding on. Um, oh gosh, I just got this like all right, I'm going to tell you the visual I got, even though you probably don't want to hear it. But I've been feeding my dog a little bit more recently, and she's just like shedding like crazy. And sometimes she'll just walk around with this like little thing hanging out and just like won't just pinch it off and run away. I'm sorry, this is like disturbing. But the whole point of this is the same metaphor is happening in your life. There's something that is trying to do its last push out of your system. There's something that you have wrapped up with, that you are finalized with, that your soul is ready to move on from in a true fashion. And the boundary here is around truly letting that go. But it's like there's some resistance to letting that go. There's some resistance and wanting to stubbornly hold on and be obstinate in making something work. And the other part of you could also feel like, oh, I just want to give up on this new path or this new thing before it even started because it's like already too difficult. So that's another potential. That's not going to be for all of you guys. But whatever it is, your advice is to lean into Jupiter, which is to be optimistic and to look at things through a growth mindset. And a growth mindset is, what do I need to do next? What do I need to do to succeed? What's getting in my way? How can I remove that thing in my way? Instead of trying to find reasons to hold on to an old thing in your life, an old pattern, an old mindset, an old career, an old person, whatever it is. And so you guys are meant to be letting something go. And the boundary here is to hold fast to the no. No, I'm not letting that come back into my life. No, I'm not going on this mindset path where I'm like indulging in, fantasies of continuing to stay where I'm at and not moving forward. It's like putting up hard boundaries in your own head around the way that you think and allowing yourself to focus on the growth mindset in particular. And that makes sense for an eclipse in the 11th house because the 11th house is so future oriented. It's oriented towards our goals and our wishes and our dreams. But if you are stuck in the past, if you are allowing the past to kind of come back up in your friendships or in your wishes for your future, it's going to continue to kind of weigh you down. So the next message or the next question that I asked the cards is, what do you need to know about your plan? And I got the Ace of Wands and the Wheel of Fortune. So what you need to know about your plan is that things are going to work out, I think, a lot better than you are imagining them in your head. I think this has to do with the growth mindset. Maybe you're scared of trying that new thing, taking that chance in some way because you're scared it's not going to go well. And that's where you need to have the boundaries in your own head to not explore those paths of thought. Instead, it's important to think about the things that could go right, because these cards talk about things moving very quickly, things being inspired, them taking off. Like there's this energy and this momentum towards the things that you desire. And along with that, I got the Saturn card, which is about caution, limits, and maturity. So I think the other element of this is that things are going to move better than you think they are, but they are still going to operate within Saturn's reality and limits. So things are not going to, completely change overnight. Like they will still take time and you will still maybe need to exercise caution at different points in time. But overall, things are going to move quickly and maybe more seamlessly than you actually are giving yourself credit for. So yeah, this is the message for you, my Taurus. I think that this Pisces eclipse is all about you guys thinking more optimistically about your future instead of trying to limit yourself or be scared of moving on to this next chapter in your life. And I do think things are going to go well for you if you continue to be excited about what's happening and continue to be both optimistic and realistic in combo. So that's what I'm seeing for you. If that resonates, I'd love to hear from you down below. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up, subscribe, share with your friends, and have a beautiful day. Bye. All right, up next we have Gemini rising and sun. This Pisces lunar eclipse is happening in your 10th house of career, of reputation, of legacy. So, this Pisces eclipse I talked about at the beginning is all about needing to set clear boundaries. And the first set of cards I pulled is what boundary needs examining. What does that look like for you, basically? I got the 8th house, which speaks to one's personal power. And then I got the Magician, which also speaks to one's personal power, in particular, our ability to live up to our potential. So there is a message here for my Geminis that this eclipse is going to help you realize where you have not been living up to your potential. And I got the clarifier Queen of or King of Cups and the 10 of Pentacles, both the highest of, well, I guess the King of Cups is the highest of their suite, but 10 is the highest of the numbers. So these are cards about financial prosperity and emotional maturity and stability. So I kind of have the feeling that my Geminis are going in one way or the other, where there's some major area of your life that you're wanting to have like a type of advancement with, you are wanting to see progress with, either with maybe starting a family or having like a career milestone that you want to reach or a dream that you want to obtain in your future. But there is one area that you're not living up to your potential, either financially or emotionally or both. And so I just feel like the boundary, I guess, is more so kind of calling you out around where you might be allowing yourself to kind of cap your potential by continuing down certain paths that keep you stuck in an emotional youthfulness in some way, or in some path that could be not financially lucrative in the long term. So this could be like being in the wrong relationships or in the wrong emotional patterns in relationships, or in, just in a place emotionally where you're not feeling maybe super stable or really mature or self-aware, with the King of Cups. And then the other card could be that you're not spending money correctly, or you don't have the proper money management or money goals, or you're not thinking as long-term about money as you could be. Like there are different ways that you could approach both of these kind of facets of life where you could actually be going further, could be improving more or doing more in some capacity. And there is some kind of like limit that you are putting on yourself by being involved in some maybe habit or kind of cycle, or having, boundary issues around. Let me pull clarifiers, because I feel like it's not helpful to say, just make more money and just like be more mature. Like, let's see a little bit more, because I feel like there's something missing there. I guess the universe wants to tell you that you're not living up to your fullest potential right now. Most of us aren't, I would say. Okay, so can you get some clarifiers here for this King of... Okay. Clarifiers of like what my Geminis can do in this scenario. What can they do to live up their potential? Okay. So I think, first of all, with having Uranus move into your sign, there's a lot that you can change in your life, to be totally frank, to live up to your potential. And I think things do need to change in the area where you have Gemini in order for you to actually feel free and live up to that potential. So we start off with the Page of Wands, which is the Explorer card. This is a card about somebody who is free-spirited. This feels very Uranian to me. So part of your advice here is to look at the areas of your life where you feel maybe youthful or free-spirited, or feel alive and excited and inspired. And that area of your life is worth looking at as like a template for other areas where you might feel are really heavy, where you're behind, where you're bogged down, where you're not living up to that energetic potential of how excited you could feel about something in your life. So look at some area of your life that feels really, really good, that you feel like you are exploring and getting a taste for, and where you're open-minded and trying new things. Look at that area of your life and try to apply that to the areas where you feel stagnant. So another piece of advice is the Eight of Pentacles. This is a card of hard work. So literally, some of you guys just need to develop more skill in something, spend more time on something, master your craft with whatever that is. So some of you guys need to put more time, and it's probably going to be different pieces of advice for different people. The Queen of Swords is the next one in reverse. This card upright is like kind of a bitch, and even in reverse there's a cold hardness to the Queen of Swords and somebody who is really anxious and very logical. And so with this card in reverse, it's speaking to how those things can be negative in our lives and impact us too much. So it's like especially with this Page of Wands cards, part of what makes this card so exciting, so beautiful, is that it's coming from a very kind of like pure and innocent place, a childlike place where you explore stuff with free spirit, uninhibited. And with the Queen of Swords in reverse, you have to be careful to remove that inner critic, the one who is super logical, and the adult who tells you don't do that because it's not, you don't have time for that, X, Y, and Z. It's saying like, have more fun doing things you've always wanted to do and work harder at the things that really bring you joy, that you want to master. I think it's pretty clear. The next one is the Three of Wands, which is a journey card. This is all about, this is like a play for me off of the Page of Wands. They have very similar wandering, a wandering spirit, a free spirit kind of energy. They're both trying to go to a foreign place or try something new. The Page of Wands feels different because it's like, oh, I really like this thing, so I'm going to pick it up and do it. Whereas the Three of Wands feels more like I'm literally physically going places, or I'm traveling, I'm seeing the world, I'm trying things that I haven't tried before. So they feel similar, but there's some difference too. So I think that this is trying to say that if you want to untap your potential, part of this King of Cups and Ten of Pentacles energy is going to come from exploring yourself more deeper about what it is that you really want. And sometimes you have to be in the wrong things to realize that something isn't what you want, but you have to experiment and try new things to see what it is you do, and then work really hard at that thing. This could be career, this could be relationships, home, whatever it is, it's worth exploring and looking into. The second question that I had for your cards was, what do you need to know about your plans? And I got Saturn and the Eight of Swords. And this kind of goes along with that Queen of Swords in reverse, where you guys might be super pessimistic and too realistic about your plans. I think that this is what you need to know, is that you are like cutting the ideas off before they can flourish. And that's why you got the Page of Wands as a card for advice, because you need to go on a journey and find yourself, and you need to try new things and think that they're possible when you try them. But there are certain things that you are already saying in your head are not impossible. You're having a victim mindset or a scarcity mindset. You're getting stuck in negative or limiting beliefs, and just saying, I'm being realistic, but actually what you're doing is stopping your momentum. So the Chariot card is the one that I feel like is kind of the bright side, where it's like, if you can move this out of the way, you're going to actually move really, really, really quickly towards your plans and your goals. But you have to start getting out of the victim mindset and realize that you are in control here. You don't have to be super realistic all the time. Like, you just had Saturn move out of a square with your sign. Well, I guess it's still in a square with your sign now because it retrograde, but Saturn is going to be moving into Aries in 2026 permanently. It'll finally be out of square with your sign, and things are finally going to get moving early next year. You can get it moving now, but I think it's important to get out of that really dark, limiting mindset in order for things to feel like they are flowing again. So that's what you need to know about your plan is you're limiting it or yourself too much or thinking too realistically or too negatively. And you don't have to be. So that's what I'm seeing for you, Gemini. If that resonates, I'd love to hear from you in the comments down below. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up, subscribe, share with your friends, and have a beautiful day. Bye. All right, up next we have Cancer, Rising, and Sun. So this Virgo eclipse, this Virgo lunar eclipse on September 7th is taking place in your ninth house of prophecy, of optimism, foreign travel, study. So you might have some movement in those areas of your life. And for my Cancers, I pulled some cards on 2 different questions based off of the overview. The first question is what boundary needs examining? And I got the leadership card along with the 10 of Cups, the Leo card, do what you want to. So it's interesting because the boundaries question is so unique to each person and it's been really different for each group. So the boundary for you guys that you need to examine is the boundary that you've been putting on your idea of what you can and can't have. With this emotional fulfillment 10 of Cups and this do what you want card, you guys may have been putting a cap or a limit on what you thought you could do with your life, with your time, what you thought you could experience in a relationship. I don't know, it's just like something where there's something that you really want, but it's almost like you're saying, oh, I can't have that. Oh, I want that. Oh, I can't do that. That thing would be so cool. Actually, no, because of X, Y, and Z. And so there's this like weird limitation that's unnecessarily pessimistic. And this eclipse in the ninth is trying to bring back your faith in yourself and the universe. And that's so many impossible things happen each day. And it wants you to start removing that boundary around what you believe is possible, remove the limitation around what you really want, and start to pour into that and allow that idea or that desire to start to flourish. And it might scare you to do that, but that's okay. It's important to be a little bit scared in life because that means that we are challenging ourselves. That means we are trying. That means we're really living. And if you're not really living, I don't even know what to say. Okay, so that boundary is all about, again, cultivating more of what you desire and believing more that it can happen. The second question that I had for my Cancer risings was, what do you need to know about your plan? I don't really, I mean, there is something here. Okay, this I just have a very specific message. I just don't think that this is for a lot of people, and I really need you guys to not discount the rest of the reading because I'll say some more stuff after this. Those of you who are in your plan, who are basing your dreams or your security or this and that on another person, you might find that that doesn't work out for you. And if you are relying on someone else to pull through or to do something for you to feel like you can have what you want, then this is not a good thing. This might not work. It might be too much of a dream, just thinking like, oh, someone will do that for me. Like waiting for someone to come save you, waiting for, the check from that person to go through and then you can get what you want. There's something about that where it's like, wake up, we're not waiting on them, we're doing it ourselves. That's what the universe wants to tell you with this plan thing. So that's a message for some of you guys out there. Some of you guys with the Death in reverse and Partnership in reverse, Two of Cups in reverse, some of you guys might be holding on to old energy. Some of you guys might be struggling to let go of an old relationship, an old commitment to somebody, an old friendship. It doesn't have to be that I don't know. It feels like there's some emotional baggage that could still be there. And Jupiter moving through your sign is trying to get you guys to grow in different ways, to meet new people, to try new things. And if you're really holding space in your heart for these old resentments or these, bitter feelings or this old attachment to people, then again, part of your information you need to know about your plans is that these people aren't part of your plans in your future. They're not there. So let them go. Even if they're not even in your life, if they're just energetically, emotionally a part of your self, and if you have them planned into your future, you need to cut them out because they're not part of your future in the way that you think. And that's what this Judgment card is. It's like making the difficult choice of realizing that you're letting this attachment to this person, to this company, to this place, you're letting that go because it's not a part of your future. And instead, it's important to dream about what the ideal future would be and invest into that rather than old things that you know don't live up to what you really wanted to begin with. So instead of holding on to the known thing out of familiarity, again, and it's not fulfilling you, it's saying to make the necessary judgment calls to let that go and dream about this ideal future that you can have and invest emotionally into that opportunity and allow yourself to be scared about the process of not attaining something or losing something that you really want, because it's only that way that you're going to get the thing that you want to begin with. So that's what I'm seeing for Cancer. I hope that message is helpful for some of you out there. And if it is, please let me know in the comments down below. That is always really helpful since this is quite a solitary thing, talking to the computer screen and just thinking out loud. So I really appreciate that. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up, subscribe, like the video, share with your friends, and have a beautiful day. Bye. All right, up next we have Leo rising and sun. This Pisces lunar eclipse on September 7th is taking place in your 8th house. And I've been asking the cards 2 questions. The first question for this Pisces eclipse is, what boundary needs examining? And if you watch the overview, you know exactly why I'm asking this question. Interesting that I got the Pluto card, which talks about a need for control, a desire for power, or an obsession with something, because these are very 8th house topics, which is where the eclipse is happening for you. So some of you guys could be struggling with the loss of something, needing to move on, needing to let go, needing to move forward. And this Pluto card can speak to the desire to continue to engage with, or to try to force something to work, or to obsess over something. And with the 10 of Swords being your first card, it's like, girl, walk away. You know, it's done. It's ended. Don't beat a dead horse. The boundary that you need to respect or to examine is a boundary where you are not leaving the thing that is dead in your life, and you will know what area of life that is. We also have the 3 of Wands. One of the key words for this is literally moving on. So it's like, go somewhere else, travel, do something else. Or maybe somebody else has literally left. You know, maybe they're traveling or they're going somewhere. Whatever it is, it's saying that something is now free and it's on a separate journey, and you're going on your separate journey. You know, that event, that job, that person, whatever it is, it's something is like, it's time to go your separate ways, and for you both to go on another journey that you are excited about. And the last one is the 5 of Cups in reverse. And this also speaks to the need to move on. The words for this are literally move on, move forward. So you guys need to move forward with something. You need to move on from something, move forward away from something that has ended. I almost feel like this is like a tough love message, because clearly it might be painful for you guys, but there's something that I think it's really straightforward. You don't have control over it. It's over. It's done. This is part of your past now. Move on and let go. If this is a relationship, that person has moved on. And if they haven't moved on, they will soon. If this is a really old habit, it's time to just move on from it, graduate from it. If it's an old job and you're so ready to leave and you're working 2 jobs, but you're like, maybe I should stay because they need me. No, just walk away. I'm not even going to give more examples because I think it's very straightforward that the boundary here is to leave and not turn back. I feel like I'm being kind of cutthroat today. I don't mean it in like an aggressive way. It just is what it is. the next question I asked the cards, to Spirit, is what do you need to know about your plan? And I will say, like, there's something like almost like melancholic about your reading. So I want to say sorry if you're having any kind of hard time right now. But we have the Neptune card: inspire others, be prepared to sacrifice for, and yield is the only way. So that sacrifice word really stood out to me, that there's something that you might need to sacrifice, something that's a part of your plan that you're like, I want it this way. I want that person. I want that job. I want this thing to work out in this way. And this Neptune card is saying, you just got to let him go. Let that thing go. Let that idea go. If you're trying to control something, it's already ended. It's done. You can't control it anymore. You have to sacrifice potentially to be okay in this future. And that's why I think I have the Three of Swords as the next card, because I think that there is some level of like heartbreak around this, where you just have to accept something and you have to sacrifice that thing and let that old thing go. And you have to, suffer the emotional consequence of that, which might be hard with the Three of Swords. But when you do that, you get the King of Wands, which is a card of a true leader, somebody who is making choices that are going to be beneficial for everyone involved, even if it's a difficult choice, even if you're making a difficult sacrifice and struggling with that part of it, you are going to come out a lot more confident, a lot happier, a lot more creatively inspired, and kind of leading your own life proudly. But if you try to stay in the thing that isn't working, or it's over already, and you try to make it work, and you try to force things, you're going to continue to kind of lose your dignity and cause more suffering. But if you're willing to sacrifice it, or sacrifice something that you really, really wanted, and you're willing to let go, and you're willing to yield, you will find that you're going to end on a very, very strong high note, and you will find that it was worth it. So you're going to gain something out of losing something. And that is a very classic eclipse 8th house experience. And if this is money, if this is a job, maybe just walk away proudly rather than trying to stay and make something work that isn't. Obviously, I'm just an astrologer, like take this with a grain of salt, but that's the overarching message for you guys. So I hope that's helpful for you, Leo. If it is, please let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up and subscribe. Actually, you know what? I'm going to pull one more card, because I just feel like that was kind of a negative message, and I don't want to leave you on that note. Anything to support my Leos, Spirit. Just one really clear card to support my Leos. Okay, so we have a couple of cards that came out. We got Starborn, Kairos. I don't even know what these are. And then we have the riddle. I'm going to go with the riddle. I just think that you guys, like, the riddle here is that you think, like, a riddle is a question that's asked in a clever way that's hard to guess. So there's something about your life right now that you may want to understand, or you want to fix, or you want to force a change with something, or this, that, and the other. And life is mysterious, and you don't always know why things happen. And it's important to allow the answer to the riddle to come to you. So it's like you might be trying to figure out, like, why did this happen? And can I fix this? And this and that and this and that. But life is a riddle, and the answer comes later, and you start to see why later, and because of that you get the benefits later, and so it makes it hard in the moment to accept how things are now. So allow life to just be a riddle, and for you not to know the answer for right now, and you will gain the benefits of keeping your dignity, keeping your pride intact, and just allowing yourself to mourn whatever this loss is. So that's what I'm seeing for you, Leo. I hope you have a really beautiful day. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and take care. Bye. All right, I'm next to have Virgo rising and sun. This Pisces lunar eclipse on September 7th is happening in your 7th house of relationships. So there could be some events happening in regards to the people in your life. It could affect the relationships you have. You might need to set boundaries in your relationships. These are very much eclipses in Pisces kind of energy for you guys. But I did ask the cards specific questions. The first is what boundary needs examining. So relationships could be one, but I am seeing something else in the cards entirely. So let's talk about that. So I pulled the card, the first house, which says, do it on your own and immediately. And then I got the Page of Pentacles and the Page of Pentacles upright, Knight of Pentacles in reverse. So these cards to me speak about doing something on your own and wanting something to be done really well, wanting to be really skilled at something and wanting to be skilled at it now. But the Virgo, the Page of Pentacles is saying that you need to develop the skill. You need to be consistent. You need to try hard at something consistently for many, many years to be good at that thing in an undeniable way. But with the Knight of Pentacles in reverse, this is somebody who gives up before they can get there. They don't develop the skill, or they give up before they can start. They're impatient with themselves, which is that immediacy that we saw with the first card. Or they can be lazy and not finish what they start and not hold themselves accountable. So there is some part of you that may feel, that may oscillate between these two sides. One where you really want to develop the skill, work hard at it, keep consistent with it. And another part of you that's like, oh, I'm not good at this. I should just give up. Oh, I shouldn't do this because look, immediately not having success, immediately not super skilled. I'm not good enough for this. Clearly I shouldn't do this. Bye. So that is obviously dramatized, but there's some part of you that's oscillating. And the boundary that you need to have with yourself is I remain consistent no matter what. I'm setting a specific goal for myself that is not tied to my skill level, that is not tied to the way that I perceive myself, because of Virgos, you can be really hard on yourself. And it's not tied to external validation because it's an eclipse in the 7th house. Instead, I need to be consistent for myself and not expect immediate results. And so setting a logical parameter, like I will show up for this thing this amount of times, and then maybe you can decide later if you want to give up or not, like at a certain point. But you have to be realistic about how much effort something takes, how many years, how much consistency it takes to get really, really good at something for that to be like really showing up in your life. So I feel like part of this eclipse is about not being so hard on yourself that you immediately give something up before you've really gave it your all. And so that's your advice, is have the boundary to be consistent regardless of the feelings and the thoughts that you're having at that time. The second question that I asked to cards or to spirit was, what do you need to know about your plans? And I got the card, your ideas, and the 2 of Swords. So I just feel like you have no plans or you have too many plans, or you have too many ideas for plans. This is kind of speaking to like an indecisiveness and uncertainty, exactly how you want to move forward. Maybe you have some inclination, some things that you're curious about, but there's also some level of like, I don't really have a plan fully. Like I'm stuck between 2 paths, so I haven't chosen a plan. Or I have so many ideas, I don't know which one I want to follow. Or, can I even do this? What would that even look like? I don't know kind of thing. So what you need to know about your plans is that it's okay to not know, and it's okay to be in this energy of the Page of Cups where you are playing, where you are doing something for fun, where you are not trying to put so much pressure on having something figured out right away in your life, that you can just try to do the things that make you feel excited, that make you feel joyful, that make you feel young again. And the more that you do that, the more you are going to know exactly the plan you want to follow, because your heart is going to lead you there, and it's going to become a lot more solid and clear what it is that you need and want to do with this King of Cups. So you're going to reach a place of emotional maturity where you balance logic and intuition, logic and mood, in a really powerful way that I feel like you're not currently doing. But you need to have both play and consistency. And this could be in 2 different areas or the same area of your life. But whatever this is, you don't have to have a fully set plan. You can play, you can have fun, but if you are wanting to get good at something and you're kind of cutting yourself off short here, then my Virgos, you need to know that you have to be consistent and not give up and not be too hard on the preliminary works of somebody at the beginning stage of developing a skill in something. You inherently are not going to be as good as somebody who's been doing it for many years, and you have to keep that in mind. And that's not a problem. It's not a reason to stop. It's a reason, the opposite is true. It's a reason to keep going and to keep being consistent with something. So that's what I see for you, Virgo. Those are your 2 messages for this eclipse. I hope that you found this helpful in any way. If so, please let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up, subscribe, share with your friends, and have a beautiful day. Bye. All right, next we have Libra rising and sun. This Virgo, oh my gosh, this Pisces lunar eclipse, which the sun is in Virgo, moon is in Pisces, is happening on September 7th in your 6th house. So definitely the potential for things to be shaken up in the workplace or within your physical health or your daily routines. And I did ask Spirit, what are, 2 questions. What are the boundaries that need examining in your life? And for that, I got the Virgo card, which I think is funny because Virgo has kind of conflations with the 6th house in the sense that both are very much related to work and health. And so that I feel like is just kind of really reiterating that. The next cards that I got are the Chariot momentum card and the 8 of Wands action card. These are both the same type of card to me. They're both very, very, very fast. And so one of the messages that came through for me is that you guys might need to have better boundaries around how much you're trying to do in a day. You guys might be like workhorsing it right now. You might be trying to get way too much done. Alternatively, you could be doing the opposite and not doing enough at all. And you need to like enliven yourself, which is very possible with the sun in the 12th house. Maybe you're like feeling a little tired, but if you are feeling tired and you're doing a lot, this is your time to slow down. You need to have boundaries around your speed, how much action and momentum you're trying to get done, trying to take, how much you are in your head with things, planning things, doing things, busy, 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 busy. I just feel like it could really lead you to burnout or have health issues come up. Eclipses tend to bring out things like that. And so if you guys are just overloading yourselves and kind of like, maybe you're really excited by something, but it just feels like you're just like a racehorse that's behind the bar, ready to hear that horn. And then the bar lifts and you're just bolting. Feels like you have a lot of energy and a lot of excitement, a lot of momentum about something, but I do think you need to pace yourself. This is a marathon. This is not a sprint. And I feel like these cards, because they're so fast and you might have so many spinning plates in the air, so many different priorities, things are going to either potentially get lost through the cracks, that you might forget about them that are important. It's possible that you could start getting sick, that you could just like create an unsustainable pace for yourself and almost unsustainable expectations of yourself. Whatever it is, I just feel like there's just too much. You're overcommitting, or you're over like rushing, or you're trying to just accomplish too much in such little time. And so there's something about that is like, okay, marathon, not a sprint. A second question that I asked Spirit is, what do you need to know about your plans? Because Virgo, what they like best is having a plan. I will say though, this is in your 12th house, so I'm interested to see how much Virgoan energy you feel like you have in your life, how much planning you like to have. But the first card that I pulled was about the family and the 4th house and about security. So to me, there's something about like creating more security in your life, more stability, maybe more time at home, more time with your family, something about your plans, being able to like be with your family more, or the emotional stability. The 9 of Cups came after that. So like part of your plans is like, you need to lean into what it is that you really want with home and with family or financial security. Lean into that, fully embrace the pursuit of that. But with the Hermit in reverse, you may need to kind of come out of hiding to pursue this. So part of your plan may be that you need to lean on people a lot. Maybe you need your relationships more. Maybe you need community more with this 3 of Cups community card. Some of you guys might need like a congregation around you in order to get to some kind of like emotional fulfillment or stability within your life that you have this plan for. So it involves other people's cooperation and coordination with you, and you can't be a island. And that sometimes can happen with the sun in the 12th. We can become a little bit more of an island and like kind of like cloistered into our house, doing our thing, or going about our daily routines and not maybe reaching out to rely on people that we need to rely on. So ask for help or get out of hermit mode, reach for community, and you can have the stability and the desires that you're looking for in your plan with the help of others. But don't try to overdo it. Don't try to do so much so fast. Pace yourself. You'll still have the excitement for this thing, whatever this is. If you pace yourself with it, you'll be able to sustain it longer as well. And I definitely feel like you guys are moving quickly because Mars is in your sign and it's squaring Jupiter, and it's going to say, take more on, take more on, take more on. And that's not really the vibe right now. I mean, it's the vibe technically, like the astrology is pushing that desire, but it's not the vibe in terms of it's not going to last. It's not going to hold up. It's a square between these planets. There's enough friction here that something's going to give, and you're going to realize that you took on too much or tried to move too fast, and there are negative consequences to that. So that's what I'm seeing for you, Libra. Jeez, that's what I'm seeing for you, Libra. I hope that resonates. I hope that that's very helpful for you. Let me know if it is in any way in the comments down below. Don't forget to also like this video, subscribe, share with your friends, and have a beautiful day. Bye. All right, up next we have Scorpio rising and sun. This Pisces lunar eclipse is taking place on September 7th in your 5th house. And the 5th house has also to deal with relationships, dating, things like that. So this area could bring some things like that up. It could bring up things with your children if you have kids, and those things could be undergoing some shifts. I asked the cards the answer to 2 questions. The first is what boundary needs examining? And I got the Libra card, which is why I'm bringing up relationships with the 5th. And it's literally about partnerships and relationships. And I got the Queen of Cups, the 7 of Swords, and the Justice card. So I just think that what boundary needs examining, there's something within relationships where I feel like you guys, with the Queen of Cups, this is a card around really being in tune with yourself, of your own emotions, your intuition about things, sensitively or psychically open and sensitive. So you guys are quite open as Scorpios and you can use that psychic energy in your relationships. But I think that some of you guys might be experiencing some scarcity mentality with the 7 of Swords, where you are able to like not see things clearly or lie to yourself about certain things within relationships, make excuses for certain things, almost like overshadow them or brush them over, or like out of a scarcity, right? Out of a thing, like if I don't accept this in a person, I might not find somebody, or if I don't accept this behavior, then this and that, this and that. And the Justice card is about balance. It's about equality. It's about fairness. So part of the boundary that you need to have is requiring a feeling of fairness and balance in your relationships, and trusting your intuition around when you're having like a red flag or a trigger or a warning around when it's not being balanced or when something's going wrong, to listen to that and not override it. So there's something here, a boundary around trying to find balance within relationships. This could also be if you struggle with anything related to enmeshment, also like having boundaries and balance with yourself versus yourself as an individual versus yourself as a couple, or, as a friend or whatever. There's something here around needing to find the right balance within relationships in whatever regards. It could be equal give and take. It could be spending enough time with your friends versus your partner, or alone versus your friends. It could be finding balance in, the overall like quality that you're bringing to the relationship. So regardless, there needs to be boundaries where you trust your own intuition to not accept things going below a certain threshold of being unfair or unequal or imbalanced in a dynamic with somebody. So that's step one. And that makes sense for Pisces eclipse. And then the second question that I had was, what do you need to know about your plan? And I got the North Node card, which says, have faith in, don't worry about, now is the time to. So something about your plan that you need to be reassured with, and even more so with this 10 of Cups after it, you guys need to be reassured that you can have what you really want. You can have your wish fulfilled. I almost feel like you guys are like wanting to settle for less than you deserve, but you need to hold a boundary around that, because you can have exactly what you want, and you have to keep dreaming and planning accordingly. We also have the Knight of Swords in reverse. So this card feels like somebody giving up too easily. So there could be something about your plans where you really want something and you want to have faith in it, but another part of you is like, I don't know if that's possible. Or it didn't happen right away, so it's not happening. Or I'm losing my drive. I'm losing my momentum forward because I'm not seeing immediate results. And I want you guys to know with your plan that it's going to maybe take some more time, but you can have the thing that you really, really want, and to not settle for less than you deserve, to not like accept imbalanced situations with people or work or whatever this is pertaining to, and to hold out for what you really desire. So that's what I see for you, Scorpio. If that resonates, I'd love to hear from you in the comments down below. Don't forget to also like this video, subscribe, share with your friends, and have a beautiful day. Bye. All right, I'm next to Sagittarius rising and sun. This Pisces lunar eclipse. I want to say Virgo. I don't know why, because we're in Virgo season, but this Pisces lunar eclipse on September 7th is in your 4th house. And the 4th house is about family, our home, our emotions, those things that stabilize us. Those things could be going through some shifts right now. And for you guys, I'm pulling some cards regarding 2 questions. The first is, what boundary needs examining? Because it's a Pisces eclipse. Pisces need help with boundaries typically. And for you guys, I got the patiently get what you need and what you want card. And then I got the 4 of Swords and the Moon card. So I find this interesting because this very much feels like the universe telling you, especially with this bed, that it's time to rest and reflect with this Moon card, to reflect on how you feel, on the emotions that are coming out right now. Eclipses in the 4th house, they can stir up a lot of things from our past. They can stir up unconscious things, emotions that have not been processed, issues with our family sometimes, our childhood. It doesn't really matter where it comes from. It's just that there is some things that are being revealed to us that come from deep within us. And you need to rest to be able to sort through these things, to reflect, to have time to get to know how you're really doing with something. And I feel like this is saying that in order to get what you want, you first have to be patient and get what you need. So in order to get what you want, you first have to get what you need. And that requires waiting and resting and caring for yourself and reflecting on yourself and taking care of yourself. That is the thing that you need. And then the thing that you want can come after this. But you need to set boundaries on creating that rest. You need to create time for that. Maybe time in therapy or self-reflection with that Moon card. You need to carve out space just for yourself and your own mind and your own body to just rest and not put a lot of pressure on yourself. So that's what the boundary needs to be around. And that makes sense again with the 4th house eclipse. The next message that I have for you guys is, what do you need to know about your plans? And I got this 12th house card, which says seeking oneness with all, philanthropy, and then keeping your involvement hidden. But there is this thing around like philanthropy and oneness that I find really kind of ironic and funny, because the next card is the 5 of Wands, which is a card of competition and like beating people and trying to get ahead of one person above the rest. Whereas this other card is like oneness. We're all helping each other. So there's something about your like plans or your ideas about something your perception of something that's happening in your life or that will happen, that I think you are like maybe not seeing it totally clearly, especially with this Nine of Swords. You might have anxiety, or your head could be going into these negative spaces with something. And it could, I feel like if you're trying to see something in the future happening, you might be seeing it on either one of these extremes, that it's either going to go, um, this oneness is going to be the thing that happens, like, oh, everything's going to be perfect, we're all going to love each other, it's going to be kumbaya, or this competitive, like, we're going to fight and this thing is going to try to beat me, or whatever it is, that's cutthroat. I feel like it's somewhere in between, realistically, somewhere in between these two, where there is some oneness and some competition. And so I feel like what this messages around what you need to know around your plan is that you're not quite seeing it clearly. I think your anxiety is skewing you a little bit. So let me see if there's any advice here for this. Any advice, Spirit, on their plan or how they view this plan? Any advice on this that comes out? So we have the Sun in reverse. Yeah, I feel like this is a card of clarity and it's in reverse. I just feel like it's really reiterating that you're not seeing clearly right now, that you're having some kind of anxiety or uncertainty about something, and you might be building it up worse in your head or making it more idealistic. It can go either way or both, at different times, but this is trying to say that you're not really thinking totally clearly. You can't see the situation clearly. And so I think that's like part of your advice is it's okay to not think clearly, but you have to also like catch yourself in that instead of feeding into that story and getting super anxious. Anything else advice for your plans or your thoughts on this thing? We have the let go, the death card. So yeah, I think that there's some kind of transformation that's on the horizon for you. And there's a reason that you probably can't see all the things coming, because you are maybe going to be shifting in some fundamental ways within your home life, within your family, within your emotions. You are changing as a person with these eclipses, and because they're happening in an angular house, and you are going through such moments of transition and letting things go and changing in ways that you don't fully see what's ahead. And just at this time, it's I guess your advice is just try your best to let things go and not like harp on like negative scenarios with the Nine of Swords. Like, not allow yourself to perpetuate scenarios in your head that make you anxious. Try to let go and enjoy, maybe not enjoy is the right word, but like go with the flow with this process of transformation. I'm kind of seeing you like on this Popeye ride where you're on this boat and you're just like going through the water and you're kind of moving. It's like a little mini baby roller coaster. So it's kind of like that, where it's like you have to just kind of go with the flow right now, because you can't see what's ahead clearly. And you just have to kind of flow with the changes that are happening in your life, and that's how you're going to bring the greatest amount of ease for yourself. This to me doesn't feel like a plan, and I think that's different than all the other groups. Every other group felt like they had a plan. This more felt like a projection of what you think is going to happen into your future, not a plan. And then seeing that projection as either coming out as like too idealistic or too negative. And it's, again, probably somewhere in between. And I think your head is just like not totally screwed on right now, which is okay. But instead of trying to project into the future, just try to be more present in the now and not try to hold on to things as things are changing in your life. Go with the flow, release where you need to release, engage where you need to engage, that type of thing. So that's what I see for you, my Sagittarius. I hope that that's helpful. I know that, you might need a little bit more time to yourself right now to make room for the changes that are trying to happen. That's probably why there is such an emphasis on rest. So I hope that you guys are able to do that for yourselves. Don't forget to comment down below if it resonates. Give me a thumbs up on this video, subscribe, share with your friends, and have a beautiful day. Bye. All right, it makes you have Capricorn rising and sun. For you, this Pisces lunar eclipse, not Virgo like I keep wanting to say, is on September 7th. And it's taking place in your third house. So there is some shifting here around ideas, mindset, decisions that can be taking place right now, siblings, movement, travel, all those types of things. So I asked Spirit, 2 questions. The first is, this is a Pisces eclipse, so there are some issues with boundaries coming up. And I wanted to ask, what do you need to know? What boundary needs examining? That's the question. And the first card that I have is have faith in. Don't worry about. Now is the time to. So as Capricorns, you guys tend to be overly hard on yourselves, or you can just have too much Saturn energy where you restrict yourselves and are really, really like logical and practical. And part of the boundary that I think you need to have is between like reason and logic and faith, which is a very third, ninth house axis where this eclipse is taking place. With the King of Swords, you guys might be relying too much on intellect, too much on fact, and you're not trusting in the optimism of life, which is the Sun card, but it came out in reverse. And it's almost like you're not allowing yourself to have faith, to see like the potential of something. You're just looking at the data, what is right in front of me. It's almost like if you were looking at a little seed that you planted, and you've been watering it every day, and you're seeing it break the surface, and you're seeing that it's developing, but you are only giving it as much credit as the actual size of the plant, instead of knowing that that is actually one day going to grow into a huge oak tree and be massive and live for hundreds of years or whatever, however long trees live. It's almost like you're being so concerned with like the material reality right in front of you that you're not allowing yourself to have faith of the potential of what something is going to evolve into. And you guys need to know that you need to have a better balance here. And that is where the boundary is, around not going all in on your mind with just logic, but allowing your mind to see the future and the potential and the logic in front of you and hold both realities at once and have faith in what is happening, where things are developing. So having an intellectual mind boundary is what that means. It's almost like widening the current boundary rather than setting a boundary, or limiting the scope of your reality boundary could also be one. The second question that I asked the cards or asked Spirit was, what do you need to know about your plans? And I got the Neptune card, which is a card of confusion. So I think that some of you guys are kind of confused. And I can see that also with the Two of Swords, which is a card of confusion, uncertainty, and indecision. And I got the Empress in reverse. And this card can talk about things feeling like they are not just like flowing to you. And it can come from a feeling of a lack of confidence. So there's something here where it's like, I don't trust in myself. I don't trust in the universe. And because of that, things are not just flowing to me well. And it's making me confused around if this is the right way or not. And so what you guys need to know with this Page of Pentacles is that you are still needing to develop the skill with something to get better at something, or it could literally be that you just need to get better at trusting the process more. Because I feel like you're getting yourself confused because you, again, aren't trusting your own decision making. You're not having confidence in your skill set right now enough. And that is leading to you like creating all these stories of confusion and more questions. So like, let's say, for example, you really want to be a actor or whatever. Maybe you are kind of just starting to try different stuff with acting, but then you aren't going into it confidently. You're doubting yourself in each tryout or audition, and it's making it so that you're not getting the role. But it's not because you don't have innate or raw talent that can be developed into the right skill to be the actor. It's that you are doubting yourself and you aren't giving yourself the proper timeline to develop that skill. And instead you're going into these things and you're not getting the gigs, and then you're creating confusion. Maybe I'm not in the right role. Maybe I shouldn't be doing this. And you start to overthink. And it's not about, I just think that you guys need to understand that there's a process of development and growth. It's not about already being at the final result from stage one. You have to trust the process of developing the skill, that it takes time. And in that, you have to develop more confidence. So something about your plan is like understanding that you need to be confident in the decisions that you're making, and you need to give yourself time to develop the skill to back up that confidence. Because just like the plant, you don't want to judge it from being a little sprout and be like, oh, you're such a puny little plant. No. You want to see that this plant has all the DNA to grow up into a massive oak tree and to be strong and powerful. The goal, the thing that you want, it might be a sapling, it might be really young, but it has the potential, you have the potential to develop whatever this is into something great. But you won't be able to do that if you keep knocking it down and losing confidence because you're not giving yourself the space to breathe and to grow into those larger pants, or grow into that role, or grow into that level of development or skill that you're like, yes, I'm undeniably good at what I do. So trust the process, have more faith in yourself. I think that's the biggest thing, is like, have more faith in yourself and allow yourself to like not be good at stuff, and to not make that mean that you're confused and that you don't know what you're doing and that you're on the wrong path, because that's not true. You can be bad at stuff and continue that skill until you're really good again, or until you're good. Like a good example for me is in high school, I was really bad at Spanish. And I took Spanish 1 and 2, and then I asked my teacher, should I take Spanish 3? And she said, you're not really good. I don't think you should take Spanish 3. And I was like, you know what? No, I want to take Spanish 3. And, I got really obsessed with it over the summer. I started watching every Shakira interview that you could ever watch, and of course, Spanish. I started listening to all her music. And I fell in love with it, and I ended up going and living in Spain for a few years, and now I know Spanish and can speak it relatively well. Obviously, I'm not perfect, but if I had listened and just not tried to develop the skill at it because I wasn't initially good at it for the first 2 years, then I never would have gone on to have those experiences. So I think it just goes to show that you can get really good at something and you can change your life with that skill, but you have to give it time. And it's not just about skill either. It could be about any area of your life. You have to give it time to reach its potential. And I think that creating confusion of like, what is this supposed to be? I don't know. Am I doing good enough? Is this, I don't know. Like, I just think that you don't need to put that pressure on it. It's almost like just develop the skill and don't worry about it. Just try to be confident. That I think is your plan, Capricorn, is not really to have a plan. It's just to like work on the skill, period. Not trying to have a destination, not trying to have this huge ulterior motive. I took those Spanish classes because I wanted to, period. I liked it. And then it changed my life. And so allow it to develop naturally, and it can do the same for you. So that's what I see for you, Capricorn. If that resonates, I'd love to hear from you down below. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up, subscribe, share with your friends, and have a beautiful day. Bye. All right, up next we have Aquarius rising and sun. This Pisces lunar eclipse on September 7th is happening in your second house of finances. So you guys might be having some changes happening in regards to your money at this time. I did, ask the cards because there's two major questions that I have. So I asked the cards, and the first question that I had was, what boundary needs examining in your life? Because Pisces can tend to struggle with boundaries. And the first card that I got was Venus, which is all about relationships, pleasure, attraction. And then I got the Hermit in reverse, which is a card of isolation. So I found this really interesting. I feel like part of the boundary that you guys need right now is a good balance between time alone and time with friends or doing fun stuff. And if you guys feel like life has been hard, or if there's been any amount of like struggle recently, or if you felt like antisocial or lonely or whatever, I feel like part of what this is saying with the Two of Wands and the Star is to make plans in the future for things that you are excited about. I do feel like there's a message here about money though, and not trying to, like, the boundary could also be around like, don't try to spend too much money, because you could maybe spend a lot on like social stuff, or going out to eat. Those are very Venus things. So don't overextend yourself financially. But there does seem like there's a message here with the boundary where it's like, Aquarius, one of the things that you kind of tend to do is isolate yourselves and not realize it. Or you might realize it actually, but you might just not realize that it's too much sometimes. So I think that you guys, the part of the boundary is like getting, like kind of forcing yourself out of your comfort zone and trying to make more plans with friends, trying to make more plans to do things that you find very hopeful, very healing, rejuvenating for your soul, that lift up your spirit, things that you're excited about, things that you're looking forward to, plans with other people, especially because of that Hermit in reverse. So I feel like part of the boundary is like setting a boundary on how much alone time you have versus like time with loved ones or time doing things that you are really excited by. So it's like saying to kind of get outside of your like cloistered bubble. If that is the case for you, if you've been spending a lot of time socializing and not enough time alone, if you've been really out there a lot and spending a lot of money on trips and this and that and this and that, then maybe it's saying to find the right balance there with all of that and not overextend and overindulge in that type of thing. But it's about having enough like fun, exciting things in your life to look forward to. So my Aquarius is you just really might need to have a good time, a good vacation, a good time with your friends, getting out in the sunshine. That's the vibe I'm getting for this for you guys, which is not really a second house topic necessarily. This is like the second house has a lot more to do with like the independence, I guess. But I feel like you guys are needing to get out there. The second question that I asked is, what do you need to know about your plans? And I got this card of Capricorn. It says dedication to achieve, focusing on, resulting from rules imposed by. And then I got the Nine of Wands and then the Chariot card. So the Nine of Wands is a card of resilience and Chariot says momentum. So these are really different cards. I really got a very clear message for you guys. I don't know what you're trying to plan, but if there's something that you're trying to get accomplished, or if you're trying to achieve something, or if you want something, I definitely think that this card is saying with Capricorn, focus on it, put your head down and work hard on it. The Nine of Wands represents that it is going to require quite a lot of you. The Nine of Wands means that there might be some type of hurdle along the way. You might have to juggle a lot time-wise. You might have, some kind of issue pop up that tries to prevent you from doing something. It's going to require your resilience to keep moving forward past some kind of external friction. I don't think it's internal. I think it's something you want, but there's external friction of some sort. Like it's something requires you passing a test. It requires a certain amount of time or energy. It requires your permission from some other hierarchical source, which is very Capricornian. Whatever it is, it's going to be some point of friction, and it's saying keep going, keep going, keep going. And once you get past that hurdle, you are going to have so much momentum and so much feeling of either freedom or movement in a way that is going to make you feel alive and very excited. So I'm just getting this feeling of like you're trying to push past something, and then all of a sudden you break free. So that is what you need to know about your plan, that you will meet some type of resistance. Don't worry about that. Put your head down, keep pushing through it. And on the other side, you're going to find an immense relief and satisfaction and fulfillment at your persistence with this and your success on the other side. So that's what I'm seeing for you, Aquarius. If that resonates, I'd love to hear from you in the comments down below. Don't forget to also like this video, subscribe, again, give me a thumbs up, share with your friends, and have a beautiful day. Bye. All right, and last but not least, you have Pisces rising and sun. So this is an eclipse in your sign, Pisces, on September 7th in your first house. So what is this eclipse going to bring for you, my Pisces? Well, some major changes and a need to get focused. And I'm saying that because I asked Spirit what boundary needs examining. And for you guys, I got the cards of confusion, idealization, Neptune, which is your, modern ruler and has that same kind of energy as Pisces in your sign. And then I got Seven of Pentacles, Ace of Pentacles in reverse, and Empress in reverse. So what does this mean to me? Well, first of all, with the idealization card with Neptune and then the Ace of Swords in reverse, I don't know if I said Pentacles, I meant Swords. The Ace of Swords in reverse, it's speaking about having maybe a lot of ideas and being a little bit like unfocused. I can see that maybe you guys are, there's something ungrounded about your energy right now because your planetary ruler, or sorry, Saturn, which is in your sign, is still retrograde in Pisces for the last time. So it is teaching you guys some final lessons until February 2026. It's teaching you some final lessons around boundaries and hard work, dedication, focus, and being realistic with things. And so in this period of time, and especially right now, you are likely to feel like you've got a lot of things going on. Maybe you have, again, you're quite scattered, or you're not really like able to concentrate or able to remember things. Maybe you feel blocked also creatively. That's also potential for the opposite of this to be true, where maybe you have so many ideas, or maybe you don't have enough ideas, especially with the Empress in reverse. There can be a block because you might lack confidence. But the Empress in reverse can also be somebody who's like waiting for something to just happen, for it to be given to them. And there could be part of this message here of it's not going to be given to you. And I think that's a lot of this energy is like, what if I just, with this Ace of Swords, what if I just kind of like follow this idea, follow that idea, or maybe this thing will just like work out, or, I have like these plans, but you're not like having the follow through or the assertiveness that it takes to really get something going. So the boundary that you need to have is a Seven of Pentacles, which is a focus on the physical material world and being really consistent and thinking long term about your plans. It's a card of achievement, but it's really the achievement of toiling away in the garden day after day until you get the results of something. So it's not expecting it to work out super fast or even in a couple of months. It's not expecting, again, those immediate results. It's not expecting things to come to you without having put a lot of effort into it first. It's around having a balanced perspective where you can manifest, you can manifest, but you're also doing the other half of manifestation besides the spiritual stuff, and that is the actual work that manifests something into your reality. You can't just wish it there. And so that's part of the boundary here, is creating maybe more consistency, creating maybe more routine, more follow through, more of a realistic plan or realistic boundaries around how much time and effort something takes, and actually following through enough to make it reality for you. So this actually feeds really nicely into my next question around what do you need to know about your plan? And I got quite a lot of like similar energy. I got a relationships card, Libra, Two of Pentacles, Temperance, and then the Knight of Swords in reverse. I just think that the relationships, Two of Pentacles and Temperance, all have a very strong like overlap and correlation. And that is like the idea of having a balance. So Temperance is about balance, Two of Pentacles is about balance, and so is relationships and Libra. So there's something in your plan that you need to bring into balance. The Knight of Swords in reverse means that you are having a little bit of a tendency to maybe move too quickly through things, that you are maybe unfocused with certain things. And so something that you need to know about your plan is maybe that there needs to be a greater amount of balance in a situation. So not trying to rush it or have all the answers up front, not trying to like get ahead of yourself, I guess is what I'm trying to say. The Two of Pentacles is like, what are your most important priorities? We need to balance these. Temperance is, let's have patience. Let's act with moderation. Let's act with the long term in mind. Another group had this. I think it was it Leo? I don't remember. Capricorn? I don't know. One of the other groups had this where they had so much, it was Libra. They had so much like momentum. And I kept telling them, this is about pacing yourself. This is about a marathon, not a sprint. If you know that you're going to run 23 or whatever miles, however long a marathon is, and not 1 mile, you're going to act really differently from the start of that mile if you know how long it's going to take you. So you might not know how long something truly is going to take, but there needs to be a really good balance in order for you to pace yourself and not just immediately start sprinting and try to do everything at once. So the best thing that you can do, the best thing that what you need to know about your plan is that you can sit down and list off your top priorities and try to figure out how to create a balance where you can focus on all these, because we're going to have relationships of people who need our attention. We're going to have maybe kids or a home or pets or dishes or food that we need to cook. And all those things are going to take away from other things that you really want to pursue in your self-actualization. So again, balance and moderation is going to be key here. Not to just hit the ground running, pace yourself, think long term, and be patient in this process. So that's what I'm seeing for you. My Pisces, you can absolutely do this. I'm excited for you. If that resonates, I'd love to hear from you in the comments down below. That helps me and everybody else watching. Please don't forget to also like and share my video, subscribe, and have a beautiful day. Bye.